You ever notice how in the summer I turn pretty? Conrad Fisher is always the one who bleeds the most, the one who sacrifices everything, and yet somehow, he's always painted as the problem.
Yeah.
That's where we're starting today, because what just went down in Season 3, Episode 10 feels less like a love story and more like a test of patience. For Conrad, for Belly, and honestly, for us watching. Let me just ask you, how many of you are tired of watching Conrad get punished for doing the right thing? Because I swear, this episode confirms something I've been suspecting since Season 1, that the writers are playing a dangerous game with his character. A forbidden truth nobody wants to admit. Belly might be the main character, but Conrad is the backbone of the story. Without him, it collapses. And yet, every season he gets sidelined, shoved into the shadows, while everyone else gets a free pass. But here's the twist, and I'll throw it at you now to hook you in. Episode 10 finally set Conrad up for a decision that could completely rewrite the ending of this entire trilogy. And trust me, if you think this story is ending the way Jenny Han wrote it, think again. Because the show has already jumped past the novels. We're now in forbidden territory. Off the map. The showrunners are rewriting the rules. Which means Conrad and Belly's reunion isn't just a reunion. It's the ticking bomb at the heart of the finale. Now, let's talk about that letter. The one Conrad kept writing Belly, even while she ghosted him for months. Did you catch the symbolism of that? That wasn't just a love letter. That was a man holding on to the last piece of his soul while everyone else told him to move on. He sent her packages, reminders of home, even the infinity necklace. You know what that means. It wasn't about romance. It was about memory, connection, defiance against time itself. That necklace screamed, "I'm not giving up on us, even if you already did." And here's where it gets messy. Because while Conrad was bleeding his heart out in silence, where was Belly? Paris. Kissing Benito. Cutting her hair. Pretending she was building a new life, while secretly homesick and quietly still tied to him. That's the problem nobody wants to admit. Belly keeps running, and Conrad keeps waiting. But how long can a man wait before patience turns into punishment? Hold that thought, because Jeremiah plays into this too. For 10 months, Belly and Jeremiah barely spoke, and when they finally did, the line that sealed his story was, "I should probably let you go." Jeremiah literally admitted it was over. So why do I feel like the show is still dangling him as a fake option, like a safety net to rile fans up? Let's be honest, Jeremiah's entire arc this season has been pain. He lost Belly. He lost Christmas with his family. He even lost his pride. Because Conrad called him out, "You can't take someone. She's not an object." Brutal, but true. And yet, tell me why it still feels like Jeremiah's being written as the victim. Meanwhile, Conrad, the guy actually doing the emotional heavy lifting, gets treated like a problem that needs fixing. Let me loop this back. Because here's the real forbidden knowledge. Season 3 isn't about Belly choosing between Conrad and Jeremiah anymore. That choice already happened. It's about Belly choosing between her old self and her new self. Between Paris and cousins. Between independence and the comfort of love. And if you think she's automatically picking Conrad, careful. Because the show has been dropping hints that she might just choose herself. And listen, I'll be real with you, if Belly decides to stay in Paris and not return to Conrad, it might be realistic, but it will also be the most underwhelming ending this show could ever deliver. Why? Because fans aren't here for realism, we're here for payoff. We've watched Conrad suffer for 3 seasons. We've watched Belly bounce between brothers like she's testing waters. If the writers rob us of that emotional climax, then what was the point of all this suffering? Quick pause here, because if you've been with me through these breakdowns, you know I don't hold back. I say what most people tiptoe around. And if you're tired of watered down takes and want the raw, forbidden truths about your favorite shows, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, don't just watch and scroll. Subscribe, because next week's final breakdown is going to be brutal, and you'll want to be here when we tear it apart. Alright, let's jump back in. Conrad's arc this season has been so frustrating because every glimpse of his growth, the therapy, the Stanford success, the football comeback, gets shoved aside the second Belly enters the picture. And that's the controversial problem. His story keeps getting erased for the sake of her love triangle. Like, remember Agnes, the hilarious, brilliant best friend who supported Conrad at Stanford.
Where is she now, ghosted?
Not by Conrad, but by the writers. They just dropped her. And why? Because if they kept her around, Belly wouldn't feel so central. That's the secret nobody wants to admit. The writers are deliberately sabotaging Conrad's independence to keep him tethered to Belly's storyline. And honestly, it's starting to backfire. Because instead of feeling like a romance, it feels like Conrad is trapped in a cycle of punishment. Every step forward, he gets dragged back into drama. And I'll say it, Belly doesn't deserve Conrad right now. Not this version of him. Not the man who clawed his way out of depression, who faced his demons, who put family above pride. The Conrad we see now is stronger than the Conrad who broke down at Susanna's death. He's evolved. But the question is, will Belly evolve with him, or will she drag him back down? Let's imagine this. What if Conrad lands in Paris, walks into Belly's new life, and she chooses herself instead? Picture that moment. Conrad finally risking everything, and Belly saying, "I'm not ready." That would shatter him. But it would also shatter the fandom. Because the show has been building Conrad as the endgame since season 1. To pull the rug out now, that's betrayal. But here's the loop you need to sit with. What if that's the point? What if this whole story has been less about happy endings and more about painful growing pains? What if the real twist is that nobody gets what they want? Because love, in reality, is messy, unresolved, and cruel. Think about it. Every holiday they skipped, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, it was about avoidance, not healing. Belly forgot Susanna's death anniversary. Jeremiah spent months in silent bitterness. Conrad clung to letters instead of closure. Does that sound like a love story or a tragedy in disguise? And I'll leave you with this for now. Conrad's postcard from Belly, the one he kept in his wallet like a sacred token. That's not just love. It's obsession, it's loyalty, it's desperation wrapped into one fragile piece of paper. And when he finally arrives in Paris, that postcard will either save him or destroy him. Because in this show, every gift, every necklace, every letter, they're never just objects. They're promises. And promises, when broken, leave scars deeper than betrayal. But here's the kicker. What if Belly herself isn't ready for the ending we all think she wants? Fans have built this fantasy around her choosing between Conrad and Jeremiah, but season 3 episode 10 plants cracks in that entire love triangle. We see her torn, vulnerable, yet quietly more independent than ever before. Could it be that the writers are teasing us with the illusion of choice, only to flip the script and give Belly an ending where she chooses herself? Now I know some of you are already typing in the comments, "No way, Belly without Conrad or Jeremiah.
Impossible.
But let's be real. Every iconic romance story has that moment of rebellion. The twist where the character steps out of the expected path. Think about it. Would Jenny Han really want her biggest finale to end on a predictable note? Or is she planting seeds for something much more disruptive, maybe even divisive? And here's where it gets even crazier. The summer house isn't just a backdrop. It's the silent witness to every secret, every betrayal, every first kiss. If the house really is coming down, then doesn't that mean the love triangle is coming down with it? Like, the destruction of that house might literally symbolize the destruction of Belly's old life. Which means episode 10 could be less about who she chooses and more about what she leaves behind. But hold on. I want to throw this question straight to you. If the summer house burns, crumbles, or gets sold, does that mean the Fisher brothers' bond breaks too? Or do you think their love for Belly forces them to finally face each other, not as rivals, but as brothers again? Drop your thoughts, because I guarantee this is the single most overlooked thread in the entire show.